What's going on, bud?
What's up?
What's up?
I'm doing this on my phone now, so
Me too. That's what I use is my phone.
uh,
Shoot. I use my phone for Instagram. I use my phone for my YouTube videos. I use my phone for any of these lives. The iPhone 11 is doing anything that I want to do for right now. So,
yeah, I think it's a lot better than the laptop.
yeah.
So I want to see if any people come in before we. Can you see the chat if
Yeah,
you?
if I click the chat button, I can bring up the chat, but then I'm not really seeing the pictures there in the background. And then if I close down the chat, I see us on camera.
Uh, hmm.
Actually, I think I'm going to move like this and move my camera, my phone, to over here. See if that does a little bit better. Trying to get that lamp out of the background. I might roll over there and cut that lamp off. Does it shine real bright?
Nah, I think it's alright.
Alright. That works then.
Well, I can do this. I can watch it on my computer, but still look at this.
Yeah.
So we could. Yeah, I did one. I mean, baby, she hates it when I call her from her last name. So, what you carrying today?
um I'm wearing my Seiko Samurai. It's the Ocean Wave dial on a scrap code bracelet, but I've got actually two knives right here. I've got the Spartan Harsley folder and the Spartan Astor. So this is that Les George design, and this is the Bill Harsley. This is the full titanium. This is the G10 liner lock. So
They are beautiful.
two Spartan blades right now. The more budget and the more expensive. So
Yeah. All I got on me is a gas station knife.
gas station knife.
I got this at the local farmers market. So
Yeah, looks good, bud.
$10. You can't
Hey,
beat it.
I, well, I tell you right now, if anybody wants like the Les George Design Spartan Astor, if you look on Blade HQ or DLT Trading, different stuff like that, these things run 135. If you go over to Knife Works right now has these for $89. So instead of 135, they're 89 on Knife Works, and it's the CTX CTS XHP, and I love XHP. So yeah, Knife Works has these things for ridiculous. It's like $50 off of the $135 price. It's $89.
$80. You can't beat that.
Not for that knife and everything. So, because this is not a small knife, this is like 3.6 inches. So, this is like PM2 size, you know? So, for
Well, I have my
$89.
And I just got my trusty old multi-tool right here.
Yeah.
I love this thing. I want to get a sheath, but on Amazon they want like $40 for a
Right.
sheath. I'm not paying that.
I don't blame you.
So today's topic. What's up, Samurai? Samurai Bird is in here.
All right.
Hope you have a good day. So, what's our topic for today? You want to talk about the surgeries and all of it?
We can. We can talk about surgeries and everything like that. That's perfectly fine with me. So,
I know you ain't baby.
Do what?
Nah, Lauren is talking.
Oh.
But so I don't know you that much. So do you want to give a little description of yourself?
Sure. So basically, right now I'm 42 years old. Okay, but I have been and still am, but I have been tremendously overweight all my life. Going through high school, I was in high school, I was 350 plus. And then as I got out of high school, it escalated even more. So I went to the doctor one time, and back then the doctors had those little scales that you slid sort of like the little weight across to measure. Well, on that particular scale, if you slid all the way over, the big weight at the bottom was 450. You slid the top thing over, and it made it to where it could measure up to 550 pounds. So I stepped on the scale and I pegged it out right off the bat, 550 plus pounds. So how heavy was I truly? I do not know because the scale stopped at 550. So I know I was over 550. I wore a size 70, 70, size 70 waist pants. Okay. So, being heavy for so long, I did lots of damage to different parts of my body. Now, I have lost down from that 550 plus. I'm probably right around the 220 pound mark right now. Still would love to lose some more, but I've lost more than what I currently weigh now. So I mean, if you take 550 and just subtract 220, You think I've already lost like 230 pounds, but it was more than that actually. So I've lost myself already. So with that being said, that led to a couple of major surgeries for me. So after losing most of that weight, that created a lot of excessive skin, okay? And that started putting pressure on my bladder. So I had to have a surgically installed catheter, okay, that I wore for a year, trying to wait for a surgery to be done to correct that problem. So I had to have the catheter exchange every 4 to 6 weeks. So surgically under anesthesia. So in 2019, I was put under for surgery 11 times to exchange that catheter under anesthesia every 4 to 6 weeks to keep my kidneys functioning because of the pressure that was being applied onto my bladder. Okay.
Wow.
So that whole year of 2019, I was going around and I was already having problems walking. I had to use a walker and everything like that because my legs had gotten, we'll get to my legs in a minute, but my legs had gotten so bad that I could not walk just straight on my own. So I was having to have a walker as well as a catheter that had the tube that went out to a bag and everything that I had to carry around with me and empty uh, on a regular basis. So having a catheter in for a whole year, you know, that's gave different, infections and urinary tract infections and stuff like that. So I was having those surgeries and pumping antibiotics, and that year was just not fun at all, you know. So that led up to 2020, all right. And 2020, I finally got a plastic surgeon. I got in to see him. I got him to agree to do the surgery so that it would correct that issue and I could get rid of that catheter. So in March of 2020, I had major abdominal surgery and groin surgery. So just imagine an upside down T, okay? So I was cut from right below the breastbone all the way down uh, to the groin, and then on the groin, side to side, hip to hip. So an upside down T like this that they splayed open. They removed 20 plus pounds of just skin. Literally, when I say they removed, they literally cut off and just, the doctor told me he just had a bucket over on the side and was throwing skin that he had removed over into the bucket. So I had complete reconstruction of the abdominal and the groin area to be able to relieve that pressure so I could come off of that catheter and not have all that excessive skin hanging everywhere. So that was a 6 hour surgery, somewhere around there. He said, I'm gonna start, and as long as your body does well and you're doing well, I'm going to continue on until I finish. If we have to stop, then we might have to come back in for another surgery to finish up. Thankfully, Lord willing and everything, he was able to start and do the whole thing. So it was one surgery. that they had for about 6 hours. So that was done, but I spent 6 weeks in hospital and rehab after that first abdominal surgery in March of 2020. So that was my first major surgery. But so before we go on to any other surgeries, any questions or anything like that, brother?
So you say it was how how was the surgery? Did they tell you?
Do what? You broke up a little bit.
Did they ever tell you how long the surgery was?
Yeah, surgery took about 6 hours.
Did they?
Yeah,
I
about 6 hours under anesthesia. But
that's
then,
a
uh,
that's a good amount of time.
yeah. Well, I mean, they literally, splayed me open, like I said, an upside down T. So I was cut this way and I was cut this way. And then they had to remove all that stuff and then stretch it back and stitch it up side to side and up and down. So uh, after I came out of that surgery and everything, not only was did I have pains from my legs that were messed up as well, but I had all this. So I mean, uh, that first that first week was oh, real. That first week was really bad, and then it started getting better. But I mean, I was on major drip pain medicine and everything like that for that first week. But yeah, 6 weeks in the hospital and rehab before I got to come home.
Wow, that's that's crazy. And I know I'm freezing up a little bit. My Wi-Fi is so bad right now. So hopefully
That's
it
all
gets
right.
better. So we got some new people in Steel Fortune Fire, Hey Joe, and we got Tina. Hey Tina, and is it both debate that I would never understand? Bowie, Bowie, Bowie. I say Bowie.
So yeah, nah.
Um,
But if anybody missed any of that part of that description of that surgery and everything, I can go back over it. But yeah, basically and everything to alleviate all that excessive skin so I could get rid of that catheter that I had all of 2019 that really required a complete abdominal and groin restructure.
hmm. So I'm sure there was a lot of pains afterwards.
Very much so, because if you think about it, being cut straight up and down like this and then side to side on your hip, just breathing made everything move. So just to breathe hurt. Not to mention if you moved or anything like that in the bed, you know, every which way. There was no way you could do any type of movement, even your arm, and your abdominal or your groin area not actually move. So, yeah, pain medicine, that pump and everything like that was going for that whole first week because, um, just breathing hurt after being splayed open like that and that much skin being removed.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember. Well, if people are wondering, this episode is all going to be about our surgeries and what we went through. We got to different kind of episodes, like how we carry knives or guns or and handicap stuff. So, uh,
Yeah, the wheels of
see,
determination, right, buddy?
Tina, yeah, wheels of determination. So, Tina X, did you have to have an NG tube? Because I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
Uh, so what tube? Let's see here. An
Like,
NG tube. What's an NG tube? I'm not familiar with the terminology. Is it the tube that goes down your throat? Let's see here.
I think that is the food one.
Okay, so during, can you see me?
Nope,
Nope. All right,
nope.
hold on. Here we. For some reason, my camera got turned off. I'm coming. Okay,
There you go.
there we go. All right. So if the NG tube is, what is the deal? Is it flashing on your end, brother? Okay. Now it looks like it's settled down. All
Uh,
right.
there,
If the NG, yeah, go ahead.
I think I'm gonna try to move in the living room
Okay.
because
Okay.
it's louder. So bear with
Go right ahead.
me. So, so that's a little bit better. I'm getting too old for this shit.
Hey, you're younger than me, brother.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot better.
Yeah.
So that tube is a feeding tube. Tina and
Okay.
Lauren said.
Gotcha. Luckily, with my surgery, they didn't have to do the feeding tube. What they had, the only tube that I had to have was during the surgery. I had to have the tube that went down completely because it was a full mass that they had to do because of the long extent of the surgery. So I literally I I have pictures and everything. I used to have one of the, like ZZ Top beards and everything. My beard came down to like my belly button type thing and everything. It was a really long, really nice beard, and I had to shave it all the way back to like this short, like you were talking about an inch long, where they could have the mask and the tube for the surgery. So I completely lost all that beard as well as having to go through the surgery. But luckily, no feeding tube. They didn't have to disrupt any of the stomach, esophagus, or anything. It was literally all about the ab muscles and the skin around the abdominal. And while they were in there, they did have to liposuck some of the excessive fat that was behind the sagging skin. So it was mostly skin, but they did have to do a little bit to get rid of some for them to be able to piece what they cut away back together. So after they did the surgery of a T, they then had to then put it back together side to side, and then the groin and stitch all the way up and down. So um, that's luckily, thankfully, they didn't have to go in towards any of that. It was all the muscle and skin on the area. So I have a the scar on my
Mhm.
stomach is like this. I have no belly button. That they had to cut off the belly button and throw it away and stuff like that. That was part of the skin. I just have a big scar that's like this big around, literally, and everything. You could fit a softball within inside my scar, and then you got scars side to side from hip to hip across my groin.
Wow.
Yeah, lots of plastic skin
Um.
grafts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Lots of skin grafts.
So you wanna move on to the next surgery if you want to?
Sure, sure. So, that was, of course, like just a quick recap. 2019, I had a catheter in for the whole year that had to be changed out of anesthesia, under anesthesia every 4 to 6 weeks. So I was put under anesthesia 11 times during 2019 to change out that catheter, which led to the surgery of March of 2020, which was the abdominal and the groin, to get rid of that stuff so I could get rid of the catheter itself. So uh, that was 2020, March 2020, and I spent 6 weeks in the hospital, and then I was able to come home and still continue to heal. It took a good, I'd say, 4 or 5 months complete before it was really completely just scarred up, finished healing and everything like that. And it just kept on getting, smaller and smaller, the open spots, but I had all different dressings that I had to wear and stuff like that. With that going on, I was still dealing with my legs. My legs had gotten, um, basically from being that 550 plus for so long, I blew out my vascular system in my legs. So blood could flow down through my arteries, but they want the blood wasn't coming back up out of my legs because all my veins, the valves, completely failed. So they were not able to close to keep the blood. That's how your veins work. Is blood flows up, and you've got every so often you've got these valves that as the blood flows up, they close back off to keep the blood going back up towards your heart. If they fail, the blood comes up and then just scrolls right back down into your legs and they pull. All right. So I had to have compression on my legs and wound care because not only was the blood going down, the blood leaches into the muscle, so it discolors your whole leg. So my whole legs were this browny red, irritated, and it formed all these bleeding ulcers that would leak and bleed. So every step I took, they had to stay compressed. So I had compression wraps, and on top of all these ulcers, so every step I took, it was opening up these ulcers, and my legs were just bleeding. And I went to wound care every week. They had to take off the wraps, clean everything up, and what they call debrieve it and everything. So they were literally, they scrape different areas and stuff and then wrap it back up. I did wound care on my legs for 3 years and everything. So I had this abdominal surgery while all this stuff with my legs was going on. So there is no cure for that venous stasis, for the blowing out of all those valves. So it literally was, I was going to have to continue compression and do wound care the rest of my life, having those bleeding ulcers. They'd get a little bit better. I'd get infections, have to pump major antibiotics, and they get worse. They break open, bleed, stuff like that. And literally, it got to where could not stand for 2 seconds, and I was crying and everything. I was in so much pain, and there was no relief. So I had to sit in a recliner, and my legs elevated. And even with my legs elevated in a recliner, all the ulcers and everything like that being compressed, as well as just them being on my legs, I was in constant pain. So for 3 years, I literally, when I say constant pain, I mean there was no, as far as stopping of it. It's not like it just came and then left and everything. It was constantly there. It just escalated worse when I had to stand up and move on them. So I literally, in this room back there where my uh, gun cabinets are now, I had a reclining love seat. I lived on that love seat for a year and a half, and the only time I got out of this room was to go to a wheelchair to go to doctor's visits and wound care every week. So I literally, this room I could not do anything else. I lost that time of my life to where I was just, if somebody wanted to see me, they had to come and visit me in here. I was chair bound, basically, with those legs. So the same plastic surgeon that did my abdominal and groin, he agreed to do my amputations of my legs because there was no cure, and it was either continue doing that for the rest of your life, or while I'm still young enough, granted I'm not young, but still young enough to do stuff and go out and enjoy life still and stuff like that, um, eh, at least I'm able to do that even if it meant no legs. So I made the choice, and it was my choice to go ahead and have the amputations as a cure, okay? Because it was either stick with that constant pain, no life, no doing nothing, could not stand for more than 2 seconds without crying. I mean, just it. I have pictures, and I I can show anybody who wants to see. You know, you would just have to message me. I won't put them publicly. There's people who have seen them, like Salty. Salty has seen some of the pictures of my legs and stuff like that. They are, it's just nasty and everything. So um, that that was going on after that surgery and before that surgery, and it just kept on getting worse, progressively worse. No matter what wound care we did, it just kept getting worse. So it's like, look, if y'all can't get them better, if there's no cure, let's get rid of them. And that way I can at least heal up and be able to do stuff, even if that meant being wheelchair bound. So that's the decision I made. I do not regret it whatsoever. I am in so much less pain. My nubs will get sore because they're still healing, but I'm not in the pain like I was and everything. And I can get out of this room. I can go in the living room. I can go out to eat. I can go back to church. I can go where I want to now, just using my wheelchair. So uh, they had to do a double above the knee amputation. So he had to go up above the knee and go a little bit good ways above the knee, um, about that far above the knee to be able to get enough good skin to make the fold over for the nub. All right. So, yeah, that's what a lot of people don't understand and everything is you can't just like chop it off and everything. You've got to have enough skin to fold over the end of the bone and stuff and then be able to seal it up. So, uh, th- uh, what that basically means, because he had to go above the knee so much, is prosthetics, unless they come up with, I know they're making advancements all the time, but prosthetics will never really be my uh, main way to get around. Uh, I do qualify probably to be able to get some once I can get on the Medicare, but it would be just putting them on to be able to stand up, maybe take a step or two, and just be able to stretch and then sit back down into my wheelchair. My wheelchair will be my primary mode of transportation for the rest of my life. So, but because it's just the way it is so far above and everything. Now, like the doctor said, if I was 20 and I was like almost an Olympic athlete and stuff like that, you probably could learn how to use the ones that go above the knee on both legs. If it was just one leg, then I could have a prosthetic and I could walk around on my own because the other leg would compensate for what the one leg, but because both legs would be above the knee, prosthetics is really not going to be something that I could use to actually get around. that surgery was about a 5 hour surgery to actually um, amputate the legs because what a lot of people don't realize is when you're amputating the leg, you've got to cut off the bone, but you've also got all the nerves, and they've got to tie the nerves in a certain way to be able to remove some. That way, you still have muscle control and different to different areas because the nerves connect all the way up, all the way down. So they have to deal with all the nerves and then all the different blood vessels and stuff like that inside the nubs as well. So it was about a 5 hour surgery to have both of them cut off. I do have a blood clot in my right nub. It's in the right common femoral vein. I have been since March of this year on the after the surgery. I've been on the Eliquis, a blood thinner, to dissolve that blood clot. I just had the follow up ultrasound to see if it's still there. It's still there. I'm still on the Eliquis, and I'm getting in with the cardiovascular people to see if they want to do anything like maybe surgically go in there and remove it instead of just letting it dissolve. So that's still yet to be determined. I might have to have another surgery to take care of the blood clot from the amputation, but the amputations themselves, they are the outside is healed. The inside, I'm still healing because, like I said, that was in March of 2021 that I had the double amputation. So, if you can imagine, this is your thigh bone, the bone that runs through your thigh. Normally, it's connected to your knee and then it's connected all the way down. So, when you move your leg up and down, everything moves together. Well, now it's not connected to anything, the bone just ends at where they cut it off. So, when I go to lift my nub, I can feel the bone move inside my leg before it reaches enough of the mass of my skin and starts lifting my leg. So my bone is doing this joystick thing inside my leg until it finally tightens up all the way around it over time to where it'll move as one unit. So right now, my bone moves and I can feel it moving inside before it actually catches enough meat and stuff to move my leg itself. And that's what gets sore now is that inner nub moving around as I'm just moving and going around in my chair and sitting and stuff like that. That part moves and it just moves inside the encased skin. It's the weirdest doggone thing you've ever felt in your life. You cannot, I would not know how to explain it except for how I just did, but you don't know how that feels to be able to feel your bone move inside your leg before your leg actually starts moving, unless you have had something like this and everything. So I'm still healing, but the outside is healed. So I'm still going on this journey. Possibly another surgery for the blood clot. Don't know yet. But those are the two major surgeries: the abdominal groin of March of 2020, and then the double amputations of my leg of March 2021. Both by the same plastic surgeon and everything. Love my plastic surgeon. He's a great guy, and he's really been able to give me life back and everything to where I can do stuff. So I've rambled on enough. Anybody got any questions? Mike, yeah, is anybody else hearing Mike? Anything? I'm not hearing you, bud. Yeah, can't. I can't hear you. Is it my ears? Have these gone dead? No. Can anybody else hear Mike? Can't hear him. Okay. I can only they can only hear me. Something's up with your mic, Mikey. While he's working on that, I'm gonna look see if there's any comments. Yeah, I appreciate it, but it was my choice and everything like that. So I'm not trying to um get sympathy or anything like that. I did it to myself. Nobody made me get heavy like that. Nobody made me get 550 plus pounds. I did it to myself. Sorry, but so all this stuff that had happened is my own fault. So that's why I started my YouTube channel and my Instagram. If I can help others, not only with how to use gear and stuff, but just help them realize what addiction, because my addiction was food. I used it as a crutch because I was overweight and I was, bullied and stuff like that all through school. And I used that as my crutch. So I did all of it to myself. So there is no fault about what's happened except for it being myself. It's just something I have to live with. So if I can help others not go through what I went through, then that's the whole reason I'm doing my channel. So apologize. Apologize. But that's just how it is. So appreciate it and everything. So yeah, no, I mean, uh, I get emotional and everything like that. That's just the nature and everything like that. And I had to come to that realization that I, I did it to myself. So if I can be an example, so others can know, that's what I wanted to reach, and I want to reach more because I love EDC. I've been doing carrying knives, guns, all different stuff like that, watches all my life. So I love that aspect of my channel and how we adapt it to being in a wheelchair now. But it goes beyond that. It goes to the actual, um, you know, what I did to myself, what I went through, and can I help others not go down that same path? And that's what, I really am trying to do here is not only show cool gear and how we can adapt it to being in a handicapped wheelchair type situation, but beyond that, what caused that, So hopefully we get Mikey back up in here. So, oh yeah, it was definitely a godsend for me to be able to find my plastic surgeon. He's the one who not only did my abdominal and the groin surgery to where I could get rid of that catheter, but he's the same one who did the double amputations. Mikey, you back, brother?
Yo.
I can hear you now.
Oh, now you can hear me.
Now we can hear you.
God, I hate this phone.
So, oh well, glad you're back because now they don't have to just listen to me ramble on and everything like that. So, but yeah, no. Hopefully you heard a lot of that stuff, brother. But anything that you missed, just let me know.
Oh, I heard everything, and I'm very honored that you share that with everyone. And so, you're a hell of a guy.
Well,
I could tell.
that's what I want to do. I want to be able to share with others about that because really, if we don't learn from others' examples, then we can just follow that rabbit hole right down uh, the same path that they went and everything. And of course, it's different for different people, but still, if you see one person going that way and it ends up falling off the cliff and everything, if you don't learn from what they just did, you're going to end up the same way. So that's why I'm trying to reach as many people as I can through my channel, not only bring them into the gear aspect and stuff like that, but hey, if I can help you, because we're going to talk about addictions on another uh, test, but mine was, like I said, I used food as my crutch, as my addiction for what was going on in my life. So, and that led to everything that happened to me as far as all the surgeries go. So,
Yeah, I'm I'm blown away by what you said. I do have one question for you.
go ahead.
Right?
Breaking up a little bit on us, brother.
So, is it better?
Yep, I can hear you, bud.
Uh, so, with all the surgeries and everything going on, how do you not get overwhelmed?
Okay, so with everything that I went through and not get overwhelmed with it and stuff like that, well, um, first thing I can say is um, dealing with that, my legs especially, and also the catheter and everything. The the past 3 going on 4 years, these past did throw me into a a depression and everything like that. So I was definitely in a depressed state a lot of times. But to be honest, brother, and everything, I did have family around me. I thank God for that, but also my faith. Everybody is entitled to believe whatever they want to believe, but I have a strong faith, um, and that has really, even though I did get depressed and get down and stuff like that with all going on, and still fighting that some, I'm in a much better place than I was, but my faith plays a big part about that. So uh, it's by God's mercy that He's given me the strength to continue on. So,
Amen. Amen to that.
so yep. So yeah, I still fight some depression sometimes because it's like, you wake up and you look down and yep, still don't have any legs. So it is something that does creep up, but man, I wouldn't go back to where how my legs were before the surgery. The way I look at it is it's a bad situation either way. You've got yourself a excuse my language, you got yourself a shit sandwich. So you either have a shit sandwich or a shit sandwich with mustard. You're gonna take the one with mustard, but it's still a shit sandwich. So you choose the better one of the two. So I did this to myself, so I had to choose the better of the two routes. So I'm on still a tough route that I'll have to live with the rest of my life, but it's the better of the routes. This is bearable. This is durable. I can do stuff that was unbearable. I was not able to do at all. I was stuck in a room. That's it.
Mm.
So I had to make that choice of, hey, just choose the best, the less of the two bad options and just roll with it.
So you would say that your life is a lot better in the wheelchair than
Oh,
before?
absolutely. Uh, eh, so I would say easily from 2018 to 2021, the March of 2021, uh, that span of my life where I was dealing with all those, my legs with the ulcerating situation and stuff, my life is so much better than that chunk of period from 2018 to 2021. Then it's better now than it was then because I'm not in that constant pain. So,
Sorry for you bothering me,
no, you're
but
fine, brother.
um, wow, you. Everyone has a story to tell, and
Absolutely.
sh- should I? Do you think I should tell some of my
Go right,
surgeries?
go right ahead, brother. They've listened to me yak long enough, brother.
um, so to start it off, if you don't know, the reason why I'm in the wheelchair is because I had a virus in my brain, and they don't know. they didn't know what virus it was, but they killed it um, with steroids. But that made me in a wheelchair. But they say that I have cerebral palsy because I was under 2 years old when I contracted the virus. So, in the meantime, they, hey, no, um, they did all these biopsies and they took a lot of nerves from my ankle, my thigh, and they couldn't find anything. Um, they wanted a piece of my brain, but my dad and my mom said hell no to that. So luckily they killed it. And I was moving ahead. I was about 11 or 12. I had surgery on my hip. My hip was actually out of the socket. So what they had to do was they actually had to break it to put it back in.
Right.
And then put like screws in there, a metal plate. And while I was in there, they cut the hamstrings so it wouldn't be tight. So that surgery took about 6 to 7 hours.
Yep.
And I had to be in like I wouldn't say a full body cast, but I was in like a harness and I had to sit there for 6 to 8 weeks
Right.
with no movement at all. And that was, if I had to do it again, I'm not doing that again. I mean, I would, but
You wouldn't want to.
yeah, I don't want to.
Absolutely.
um, I was the the biggest thing I want to get this doing the live is a lot of people don't understand what goes into everything. The
Yep.
surgeries, the time off, and uh, the the horrible part is the addiction to the medicine.
Yeah.
So I I knew I had an addiction problem because they tried to give me painkillers when I had my hip surgery.
Right.
And I will say this. When I took the painkillers, I was on cloud 9. I was loving it. I felt so good, but I loved it too much.
Right.
And so for the 8 weeks, I was, high most of the time, which I needed it because I was either screaming my lungs out or I was having leg spasms. And if you ever had leg spasms, they do not feel good.
Right. They
So,
had me they had me on muscle relaxers and different stuff like that to try to keep my legs from spasming after my amputations because all that stuff was still, just cut raw and everything. So if you have all the muscles tightening up and everything like that after that surgery, it can even rip stuff open and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not fun at all, brother.
so Tina asks you, what state do you live in and what is your real name?
Sure. I'm in Mississippi, born and bred here. I lived in Louisiana for 3 years from kindergarten to third grade, and then we moved back to Mississippi. My dad just had a job over there for a couple of years. So I'm in Mississippi, and my real name is Joshua and Lynn. My middle name is Lynn. I was named after my grandfather. That was his first name, and Atkins. So I'm Joshua Atkins. Uh, and I'm from Mississippi. So
Awesome. And well, before I had to have the hip surgery, it wasn't really an operation, but they would make me get Botox in my legs.
right,
And this wasn't like a regular Botox. This was like a really, really, really big needle that goes into your legs, into your muscle, and then it was hooked up to a machine.
right,
And I never forget the sound of it. It was like running horses, and they would give me like 5 to 6 injections, and that was one of the worst experiences because imagine a big ass needle going into your legs.
yeah,
And the doctor, the one time he put the needle in, and he was like, "Oh, I messed up." So like, um, he took it out, and like, I, I was bleeding,
right.
and he was like, "Oh, we got a bleeder." I was like, "Excuse my language," but I was like, "Oh, you think so, asshole?" So I was like 7 or 8. Um, so that alone is the worst thing that I went through because it wasn't just one time. It
Right.
was about 4 times in a year. So that wasn't fun. Um, and my last surgery was, well, the last one was my wisdom tooth, but that wasn't really much.
Oh yeah, I've
I
had
got,
a lot of other surgeries besides that. Like half of this finger's plastic and everything like that, but that was a completely different type of situation. That was from auto mechanics. So,
uh,
but yeah, no, I've had lots of those small surgeries and stuff like that, but those two that I've talked about were my big ones, and I can't imagine having to go through like what you did at such a young age, brother. You know?
uh, yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound like, um, I have a lot of mental, like emotional, mental problems.
Oh yeah,
And like from that
yeah,
experience, whenever I hear like, oh, you need a needle, you need this, you need that, I go into like a mental panic and
yeah,
it triggers me like, no, like um, my dad always get on me because he always say, "Oh, you just um, you was you was," and like he just gets on me, and he doesn't understand that
right,
I was a kid and I
yep,
didn't feel like I had a choice,
right,
and now whenever my doctor says you need blood work, my mind goes, oh, they're gonna strap me down and I'm not gonna have a choice. So a lot of it is just mental for me. Um,
well, it traumatizes you, brother, and everything like that. There's several things. I have a trauma, a fear of bleeding because when I had those ulcers on my legs and stuff like that, every time they did the wound care, literally, they're pulling off the wraps and it's pulling off all the top layers of that skin, and blood's just dripping down and everything like that across your whole legs. And one of my ulcers, I removed here at the house, I was removing one of my bandages, and it had caught a hold of one of the veins in my legs, and I pulled off the bandage, and I had a squirter. It was just squirting all across the bathroom and everything like that. So it was literally clamping down and with towels and tourniquet and calling 911 and stuff like that. So I have a trauma to bleeding stuff because of that. So anytime I have stuff that could possibly bleed and stuff, it affects me. So I get what you're saying, brother. I get that trauma, the way it affects you mentally.
yeah, for sure. Um, I can talk about my hand surgery, which is my last surgery. Um, so normally your hand is like this,
Yep.
all like pointed up. Mine was like this. So now what they did, they took a nerve down here, or like whatever that's called. Um, and then they moved it up here. So, and they cut this spot because it was so tight. Um, and then they put screws in my thumb because I couldn't make a fist. It was always going like that. So this surgery was a piece of cake compared to the hip surgery, but it's
Right.
still giving me problems. Like some days I can't even sharpen. Some days like I can't even play video games. It
Right.
hurts. And actually, if you touch right here, I feel it down here.
Right. Because of the nerve. Right.
Yeah, so, but it's getting better. Um, I can make a fist. I can't do what I want to do, which I told the doctors that I wish I could put on my middle fingers, both of them.
Right.
So he said, well, maybe not, but I still can't do it. But I'm always working on it.
There you go. Yeah, it's crazy how some of the nerve stuff works because, like, when you're an amputee like this, they have to cut some nerves and then they actually tie up some nerves as well. So
Mhm.
thankfully, I haven't had much phantom pain because that's the thing. You can have phantom pain. I've had
Yep.
phantom feelings. So sometimes I will get like my big toe itches
Hmm.
like crazy and everything. And literally, I know it's a nerve mental thing because I don't have a toe there, but
Hmm.
it itches, and I'll have to get somebody to go over there and itch where my toe would be for it to mentally register, okay, it doesn't itch as bad anymore. I know it's completely in my head and it's completely false. They're not itching anything, but it works that a way. So yeah, I have. It's strange how your nerves, being all connected, works because literally, your nerves, they don't stop. They go from your brain all the way through your body, and it's
Hmm.
a complete loop. So when they remove your legs, you still have nerves there and everything like that. So it's crazy how you can uh, feel a itchy big toe and not have any toes at all.
Yeah. I I learned that in psychology, and I never knew that someone could have that. That's that just goes to show you that we don't know everything that goes on in our
Amen.
brain.
Amen, brother. And right, I've experienced some stuff through this that I never thought that, hey, that's something that could even be possible, So, but yeah, it's real, and you know, different people have different experiences with surgeries and stuff like this. Thankfully, mine has been, well, as far as, just a couple of things going to where we're having to deal with, but overall, they've went well. I haven't had like the phantom pains and stuff like that, only like the phantom feelings, but I'm on really strong nerve medicine 3 times a day as well. So, that has a lot to do with it. Plus, believe it or not, for my amputation, what they did, I I'm still in pain management. I go to the pain management every couple of months because they've got me on these nerve pills and stuff like that. But before my amputation, if you've ever heard of a pregnant lady before she gives birth getting an epidural,
Mm-hmm.
to where they insert a tube towards into the spinal and they can inject medicine into it so it numbs. Well, before my amputation, they did an epidural, and I had an epidural in for 3, almost 4 solid days. So I had an epidural with the tube in my back pumping in that medicine uh, for about 4 days. They would come by every day and they would take some ice cubes and it's like, do you feel this? What about here? What about here? Seeing and making sure that the epidural was still working like it's supposed to. And the pain management doctor was telling me that having the epidural and having the nerve medicine that I've been on really helps not have as much of those phantom pains afterwards. It helps with the pain during that stuff as well, but it helps with the phantom pains in the long run as well. So I've thankfully, because I did have the epidural and the nerve medicine, I've basically only had those phantom feelings to where I can feel it there, but it's not really there.
Hmm. So, does anyone has any questions for me or for Shield Arms? So, do you want me to call you Shield Arms or King Raven? I wasn't sure.
You can call, my channels is Shield Arms and everything. You can call me Shield Arms, King Raven, Joshua, whatever you want to. It's fine with me and everything like that. Um, because I don't care if people know my real name or anything like that. It's just on the YouTube. It's something catchy because uh, th- if you see my captain Shield Arms, and that's where the rendition of my little logo that the Gary from the Last Ranger, his channel, he did. He took a picture of this tattoo, how it's breaking through my skin and stuff like that, and he did that rendering and put the Shield Arms and stuff like that to where I can use that logo that you see on the front of my YouTube videos now. Uh, he took it directly from this because I was just using a picture of my tattoo on my arm and everything like that. So that's where Shield Arms came from.
So, I just thought of a question. You see
Okay?
how Joe said, "Oh my goodness, you poor man."
Right.
How do you feel about when people say, "Oh, poor man," or "I feel sorry for you"?
Right.
How do you go about that, or how do you feel about that?
Sure. So there's a couple of parts to it and everything. I recognize what they're saying is they're just trying to, be empathetic to saying, hey, dude, you went through a good bit of stuff and everything. So I can see that. But, you know, don't I can understand that it's being said in a good natured way to saying, hey, you've been through a lot of shit, but I never want somebody to actually feel, sorry for me and for my
Yeah.
situation because I did it to myself. Okay. I did it to myself. I caused it to myself. Now, did I know by being awake that long and everything that it was going to cause those vascular issues, was going to cause those skin and groin issues and all that stuff? Did I know that then? No. Of course, I didn't know that then. Otherwise, I would have probably done something about it, anything way long before. Hindsight's 2020. You can easily see, well, hey, if I would have known, I would have done something about it. But we can't live like that and everything. I did it to myself. I knew I shouldn't be that heavy. Did I know what it was going to cause? No, but I did it to myself. So, you know, I don't want like people to feel sorry for me because of what I went through, because I did it to myself. There's nobody to blame but me. It's not like it just happened. It happened because of the choices that I made. So, no, it doesn't get me upset when people say something like that, but I don't, you know, just to know if you're saying it and everything to say, hey, I recognize you've gone through a lot of crap. Hey, absolutely, I understand. Yes, and hopefully, what I went through, I can help others learn, and maybe they can do stuff about stuff before it gets to the situation that I was in. But as far as just, you know, uh, somebody having pity on me or whatever and everything like that, you know, don't, because I caused it. So don't feel sorry for what's happened to me because I caused it to myself.
Hmm. Man, uh, it's a it's a touchy subject for
Sure.
me, but
Yeah.
it's you know I don't mind it. I don't mind you
I don't
saying,
mind.
"Oh, yeah," like if you like a lot of people around me get offended for me. And I'm like, no, like they're just trying to be nice, but
Exactly.
it comes off like in a way that it's, you know, a little offensive to the other person. That's the best way I can explain it.
Right. Well, it's sort of like, I get what you're saying, and especially people who know you and around you, like before my surgery, especially, and even after. But before when I was trying to get around and had those legs and the wraps of my legs and stuff like that, and I would be out, like, and my dad or my mom would be with me, and they catch, people, just staring at me because of the situation that I was in and everything like that. You know, it would make them uncomfortable because they were staring at me, and you know, I could care less if they stared at me and everything. It's one of those take a picture, it'll last longer type things. But
Yeah.
yeah, they didn't care for it because they knew probably what they were, thinking and everything like that. But just somebody saying, uh, uh dude, for you've been through a lot. I understand they're meaning it in a nice way of trying to sympathize. Hey, you had to go through a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't go through, so it does not bother me at all. But I don't want like people to treat me to where, hey, we have to pity this guy and everything because of what he's gone through. We have to make sure we do stuff for him or different stuff like that because of what he's gone through. That's not what I'm wanting to do. That's why I made the decision to have the amputations. Is I want to do for myself. I was completely relying on others because I was just bound in the chair. So I want to do, and I don't want people to feel like they have to do for me because of what I went through. But no, I completely, it does not bother me when somebody says that because I understand uh, that they're trying to be nice about it because really you don't know what to say to somebody in that type of situation because I can remember before I had all those issues with my legs and stuff like that. If I saw somebody in a wheelchair or in that type of situation with no legs or whatever, I wouldn't know what to say to them about it except, man, I hate you had to go through that and stuff like that. And so it's really one of those things. It's a difficult situation. You want to say something and it be as nice as possible, but uh, that person has to realize and everything that they're meaning it in the best way possible. They're not meaning it in, you know, a uh, a real negative type way. You know.
Yeah, for sure. So we officially was on here for about an hour and 33 minutes. So I don't want to keep you if you got stuff to do, but um, you wanna wrap it up?
And if we can sort of, I know other people watching and stuff like that, they'll be having stuff to do. We can pick it up like next Monday and everything, and maybe talk about a little bit more of like the addictions that led to some of this stuff and everything like that. So if you want.
So, how can people get in touch with you if they want to?
Sure. Um, of course, you can leave comments in uh, YouTube, but if you want something more private on Instagram, you could direct message me on Instagram and everything. I see all my direct messages. It's Shield Arms on Instagram. Um, and you can leave a comment on YouTube, and I can message you as far as on Instagram or whatever. I know I'm in a lot of Discord, so if you're in a Discord with me, feel free to shoot me a direct message in Discord. But Instagram's probably going to be the easiest way for somebody to get a hold of me as far as direct messaging me. Shield Arms on Instagram.
Yeah, and if anyone needs further assistance, I can help them as well. So, any questions? Anybody? There's only two people in here, but
Yeah, we only had two stay with us all the way.
all the way. So,
Yeah. Well, I definitely appreciate you doing this to where we come on live and talk about this stuff, bud, because it brings attention and it brings awareness to situations to where you want to be conscious of. You don't know what that person who's dealing with that is going through. You don't know what they've had to deal with, and always be open minded and not judgmental and everything. I always want to think of, hey, they might be in that situation because of this or because of that. So, really, uh, I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't judge a book by its cover,
Amen. So I want to personally thank you for coming on here and doing this with me. I, I've always wanted to do something like this with someone that is also handicapped.
right?
And like we're gonna do other videos like how to carry and all that.
For sure.
Um, so that should be good. And you got my number. I got your number. So
Yeah.
I say,
And we can make it a regular Monday thing while we've got stuff to talk about, brother, and everything like that. So yeah, as long as it works, we can do it. And if something comes up, we'll just adjust the time.
and maybe if other people are handicapped and they want to come on, hey,
Absolutely.
you are free to come on. Um, so I think that's about it.
That's right, brother, and everything. So
So
I'll let you wrap it up and everything, but I'll do what I always say and everything is that y'all be safe out there. I'm King Raven. Now wrap it up, brother.
so like I always say, never give up, never surrender, and give loyalty and respect to everyone,
Amen,
especially
brother.
your beautiful self.
There you go,
So
brother.
I catch you later.
All right, man.
Uh, uh, and of course it doesn't go off. And and there we go. Bye everyone.